at least my friend, we come a long way. And one of the things that we share in common is the mere fact that a human being is a human being. You must treat it because they pay your bills. Customer, right? And so I'm from Dazzle Promotions. And as I was called, I'm the queen of Dazzle. In our organization, we believe in personal and development training. In the era where all of you are working with customers, most of us are neglecting the number one customer we should be focusing on, which is yourself. You are your first customer. If you are not there, your business dies. Or the idea in which you wanted. Mom said, we no longer have chicken as Botswana when we are going to Mahalapi. The idea left. When we're talking customers, first and foremost, you must understand that they are your key main aspect of you remaining in your job, even in corporate world. My business, our corporations, they exist because you are serving somebody else. But a disgruntled employee or a disgruntled person cannot serve another person nicely or courteously. If you're in a bad mood, chances are, if you come and ask me a question, you're gonna hear it, right? So today I just want to focus on the few aspects or few personal skills or professional skills each and every one of us must have in order to deal with customers, for you to actually be in a position to serve. The first and key, communication skills. Now, a lot of people will say we're talking, and so no, I have been talking all my life and everything is okay, fabulous. But how are you writing your emails? How many of you have received an email and you're wondering, were you writing this in the kitchen? And how many of you have asked an organization for a quotation through email and that email alone put you off? You've lost a customer there. How many of you, a lot of you when we were at lunch, at breakfast now, I was chatting with you. How many of you actually approached me? None. How many of you did I approach? But all of you were sitting. And all of us were here. In the communication, how many of you know what I actually do before me saying it? And how many of you did I ask what you do? Communication skills. I care. The whole aspect of a customer is all of you are my potential clients, even when I am here. And so the way I'm going to talk to you, first I'm going to give you the respect that you solely deserve. If you are a gentleman, you are a mister, a sir. Why? Tomorrow you will come to my establishment. You see, you're not my customer now, but you are my future client. And the way I carry myself, the way I talk to you will actually guarantee me that you will actually talk about me to the next person after lunch. Word of mouth is key. So communication is very, very important. I am not on WhatsApp, and a lot of people shrink when I say that. You won't find me on WhatsApp. I don't do my business on WhatsApp. The reason why is because I need for us to communicate direct so that we at least can learn body language. I'm talking to you, you're on your cell phone. You're not my customer. I'm talking to you and you're like, hey, Toma, hey, wait, hey. That. So work on your communication skills and it will land you places. The other important thing is problem solving. When you're in the customer business arena, you must know how to troubleshoot. There is a language that we hear nowadays that talks about positive communication. The word no, no, I can't do that. And yet I have paid money. I'm in your establishment. I need your help. And you're telling me, I'm not sure. That we can't do. You are definitely sure I won't come back. As somebody who's dealing with somebody in front of you, a customer, one of the key aspects is to know how to respond and how not to panic. If there is a problem, there is no problem, and you say, you know what? I do not have a response for that right now, but let me look to my department and then I'll get back to you. And please do get back to somebody. Don't ever make a promise you don't want to keep. The other aspect is self-control. Okay? One of the things that actually I love is seeing people in their own element. You're talking to a client. There's a tone in your voices. I'm a soprano singer, right? I can sing really high, and I know how to have fun. But when I'm talking to a client, hey, be nice. Use what I call bedroom voice. When you really want to get that deal sealed, yeah, you then now choose your words, and you're not gonna, I want to go to the market. I was thinking, I would like to go to the market. You even go slower, you whisper, so that they come closer. But if I'm just speaking, hey, anybody can hear. But if I say, in the world today, all of a sudden, I just, huh? See what you're doing. Get your customer interested in what you're saying. So you must learn how to control your tone, because it will also go a long way. Another aspect of self-control is anger management. We all go through stuff. But when you're seeing a customer, when you're seeing somebody in front of you, the aspect, what you should be looking for is the people behind that person. See, so I'm going to use Mr. Tao, because I know him. I am not interested in his business per se, but I know wherever he's working, he has 50 other people. I need for Mr. Tao to go and tell people about me. So I am actually going to show him all the respect and be all courteous. In fact, I will serve you water, even though I know I am the PS. Even if I'm a CEO, all of you, I will serve you water. I will kneel down. I will wash your hand. Don't think you are big. I am aiming for the 10,000 that are behind you. That's customer service. That's you using the skill within you. All of you have the ability to literally win people over. The art of winning people over is learning who you are personally and who you are professionally. And then after that, you use those skills to a great advantage. Lastly, negotiation skills. Have you ever faced a client who is just about to go? You made your pitch. Hey, Wes, they're about to go and report you. And these customers that, you don't know what to say. In fact, in Botswana, one of the challenges, somebody coming to you and speaking in English. And then you don't understand how to converse in English that well. You see, they come in like, I've been here for the last 20 minutes. I don't understand what this is going on. Where's the manager? Where's the manager? And you're like, Ra. What do? Learn how to negotiate. The one aspect of negotiation skills is to keep quiet and listen. Pause. Stare the person in the eyes with a smile. Allow them to talk. And please don't make it personal. You are not the one who paid 10,000. They did. I have heard instances where people receive emails from people who have left probably in Europe, praising them to their managers. What happens behind closed doors or behind the screen after you have delivered or talked to somebody matters. Professionally, being courteous, empathy, as you hear, all these skills will take you to your promotion. Nowadays, all of us have masters and PhDs. All of us. Your selling aspect is your personal integrity and your professional ethics. And in customer service, those are key. I would rather have somebody who's on the front line, who understands the importance of the people coming into my business. So as you're leaving today and going back to your respective work, jobs, businesses, ask yourself, what would happen tomorrow if your supervisor told you your company was closing down because you no longer have customers because of your attitude? Are you going to blame the organization? You have the skills. It is your job to keep your job. The only way to keep your job is to keep the customers coming. You are your first customers, so put yourself in the right track. If you need help, contact us at Promotions. We'll be glad to help you. We run a series of workshops just talking about personal development goals. And I am not just saying it. My first ever clients are here, the queens of Dazzle. That's Patsy and that's Patricia Nkwan. And they brought you today. And I first met them sitting at a table. And I told them, write down your goals. And I will be with you till you accomplish them. And today I'm only here to actually see that they did it. They are my friends now. And I would love to be your friend. You have the dazzle in you, and it's time to dazzle. Learn that communication skills, get those negotiation skills. Let me teach you how to talk to people in a persuasive manner, and also love the work that you do and see the work that you do, even in the area you are in. You are not there by mistake. You are just not using the dazzle in you to the right advantage. Ladies and gentlemen, I really, really enjoy you listening, and thank you.
Oh, what a gentleman. Red carpet. Practice what you preach. Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause to Miss Dolly Dow. She's indeed a lioness. Gender sensitivity. She's a lion. Yes, the way you approach your customers, your communication skills. Who I am the boy. I will go out to the and then, and I changed my face in French, disgusted, frontline person, you're not supposed to be chewing gum. Problem solving. As long as someone will refer a hair on a little technique, she also touched on self-control. Don't mention it. No, some of us here. And the negotiation skills. lastly, be a dazzle or dazzle like Lolita. Another big round of applause. Something like that. We continue. Before I hand over to the next facilitator, there are some prizes that we are going to be giving to some of you. But before we get there, we had promised you guys that we are going to give you certificates of attendance. Now, it is important for you to have registered your names in full. If you do not write your names proper, so whatever is there is what we're going to put in your attendance certificate. And it's also important for you to have given us the right contact details so that we see how we can deliver your certificates. Thank you so much. As we're celebrating this week of customer service, there was a criteria that we had put in, we didn't share with you guys, but we decided to observe certain things on how people respond, how people do things, and how people take this customer service thing. And I'm pleased to announce that among you, there are certain people who took this customer service convention and week to another level. The first prize is for the first participant to RSVP. That's what number one, and I'll be coming to the convention. And this is, who's giving out the prizes? Are they ready? All right. Super. I'm almost going to help us with that. So one time, one about it. So let's go at the zero. Get so fancy. Why it's from Ministry of Lands? Get so fancy. Okay, remember that yourself? I'm coming. Number one. I'm going to since I was the president of era. When I'm a sponsor, I can gift it. So, I spoke for 100. Jam. Later, this is a customer service week. The intention is these are very nice from a company called Jolly Cool. Casey is going to enjoy them this week with his colleagues, particularly the frontline officers. We would like to see pictures. You should email them to celebrations. I don't know how the details that thing. Post there. Because that's the excitement, that's the dazzling we're talking about, that's the customer service excellent we're putting into you, into your blood. Right? So prize number 2. Prize. Okay, no, that's fine. Thank you. Are there any Makhawas here? Okay, but thank you. I was just reminded that Masa Nkala is in Botswana. But anyway, enough of the jokes. The second prize goes to the most responsive attendee. Who has been the most responsive attendee? Well, wow. What did you do? You clapped hands. The most responsive attendee goes to a very powerful, confident, dazzling. It goes to Miss Philadelphia Mutadile. The Dazzling Philadelphia, a motivational speaker of note. Philadelphia's level of responsiveness was very impressive as she made the very first contact through Facebook. She responded promptly to all social media communication, emails, and constantly used positive phrases such as awesome, great, and even called and communicated via WhatsApp as well. At no point did we have to call to inform her of anything. She responded to all our communication. Philadelphia, once again, that's the customer service excellence we're talking about. That's the customer centricity. It must be embedded in us. And then she gets to win herself a box of exotic chocolates and another box of ice pops. Chocolate is on the chocolate post the ice pops, those jolly lollies, a red bonnet, the poster, jalo. And then the last prize is about value 2. Can we guess who those may be? Now this prize goes to the first participants to register upon arrival to today's convention. And this prize, we're basically looking at the importance of being early and punctual and how it's critical to customer service. And with that, there were 2 people from a company called Clinico. Nora Mutasele Omagadinao. Nora Botati Veronica Hopolan. Thank you so much. Little now you win yourselves another box of 100 lollipops. Ice pops. You're going to post with your colleagues and enjoy them together and tell us this is how we do it at Clinico. We don't only clean, but we serve customers promptly. Right, let's give them a big round of applause. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Now we move to the next segment. And we're going to arrive on time. It's 11 o'clock. Same WhatsApp group. Brother and sister, twins. Right. We're moving to the final segment of our customer service convention. And with that, I'm going to be handing over to my sister, Patricia Kwane, who's a transformational speaker and a coach. And she will be leading out this panel discussion, part 1, on We Are All Customers, Serve with Empathy. Let's welcome Ms. Nkwane with a big round of applause.
Okay, good afternoon. Good day, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello.
Can we lighten up a bit? Good day, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello.
Awesome. Okay. Well, I just want to start off by thanking you for being part of our discussion. We are aimed at creating an awareness on the importance of customer service, and I would kindly ask that my first panelist could join me on the floor. We have Mr. Salaweta, Philadelphia Mutadile, Raul Minyani, Mayor Marina Hoba, and Dr. Matakonolo Mua. Guba, sorry. I'm so sorry. We can go with you again. Okay, awesome. With them settling in, I'll just take a moment to introduce myself. Like he said, my name is Patricia Nkwane. I'm a life coach, I'm a motivational speaker, I'm a TV content producer, a presenter of a TV talk show called Woman to Woman that airs every Friday on Maru TV. So I'll be the host for this panel of discussion here, and we are going to go all the way into the discussion. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me and being part of this panel discussion. I'm going to quickly ask that we introduce ourselves. Just a few minutes of introducing yourself, who you are and what you do.
Good morning. My name is Raul Mayani. I represent a company called Ambo Promotions. We are a creative marketing and communications hub. We do production, we do creative work, we work with brands, and we bring in the creative methodologies in order to communicate brand messages. We do workforce engagement, edutainment services, entertainment services, creative marketing, and public relations. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Raul.
My name is Marina Kobogoba. I'm a retiree and I serve in an independent, voluntary, non-profit organization called Botswana Consumer Center for Advocacy, Research and Orientation. And that is what I do. I'm here to be able to share with you what we do. But in my lifetime, I've been a teacher by profession. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Salawet Dau. I am the Director of Operations at the Western Chicago Lombard. Actually, about 6 days ago, I just got promoted to a different hotel, so I moved to another hotel as a Director of Operations to a bigger, larger property and everything.
Congratulations.
So I work for Marriott International. Marriott is the largest hotel brand in the whole world. We have about 30 brands from Sheraton. We own Protea here in South Africa. And recently I have been nominated to be one of the best division leaders in Chicagoland. So I'll be going for recognition in about October 27th. So that's what I do.
Thank you so much, sir.
Good morning. My name is Dr. Matlobanolo Moma. I'm the founder, managing director, and also a practicing doctor at Galafi Medical Center. Very excited to be here this morning. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Hello. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Kwani. My name is Philadelphia Mutladile. I'm a director of public relations with Zimbabwe Association for Persons with Albinism. I'm the president for Miss Beauty with Albinism, Botswana International Brand. I also a PR director at Kafumo Care Solutions and the Battle Fund Arts and STEM Conservatory for Kids, which will be opening sometimes in December this year. I also am a worker with Altron Botswana, and yeah, that's who I am. I'm an author. I've written 2 books that your children are using in primary schools. Although they're both for Standard 7 and kids are already Standard 7, so I'm a contributor to the nation of Botswana and the education sector. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Fiona. Thank you so much.
We are going to start off our questions, and I think it would be best if we start off by comparing our service culture here locally and the international standpoint. And upon your introduction, Rita, you mentioned that you have quite a range of experience in working on the hospitality industry at an international level. And then my question is, can you just give us an insight of differences in terms of our service culture locally and what you're experiencing on the international level?
So, well, when you think about service, customer service is the least we can do. I think that's one of the things that we look at actually from our company standpoint. The reason I say least is because I wanted to emphasize the least. During this process, during the speeches and everything, I listened to everybody what their message were. And out of that message, there were the least. Everybody talked about least. Listen, empathize. If there's an issue, apologize, solve, thank. So from international standpoint, I think some of the things that the Americans where I am do very well is they highlight this word, least. How could we do, what can we do to make sure that our employees are doing this, are empathetic? How do we make sure that our associates have a sense of agency? If somebody's asking, when somebody walks in here, what do they notice? Remember, whenever you walk in an area and you see that it's run down and everything, what does it give you? A sense of people don't care. Like the first thing that I came in here, I'm sorry, Krista, I looked at the lights and everything, they were burned out lights. You look at those details because it presents who you are. What is the foundation? What is the culture? And that's exactly what we train, we educate, we celebrate our associates. And that's what I've seen in terms of that and everything. And, you know, one thing that I realized between Botswana and the US, in the US, they celebrate more of their associates. Here, people celebrate the bosses. Like, if I walk the security guard and you tell security guard and say, hey, can I come and see Mr. So-and-so? They're like, no, we don't go Boso. So that is something that I hope in the future we can have that opportunity to say that let's celebrate our associates, let's celebrate our line associates and make them the foundation for our companies. So that's what I've noticed, that little bit of difference and everything. And being on stage, whenever you are walking around, you see people talking to each other. When you're on stage, it means that you have to be aware what's going on and what's happening. So I don't want to take most of your time. Because I get passionate about this customer service.
Thank you so much, Radha. But then I'm at the belief that customer service is a very crucial skill when it comes to hospitality. But then for the people that are here that are willing to take home a few pointers in customer service, what are some of the important customer service skills that you think they stand out in hospitality that somebody could actually take home?
I would say, listen, right? I'm not saying just listen. Somebody talked about active listening. Active listening is making sure that when you live here, you take everything you take, go listen to your associates, have one-on-ones with them. Continue. It's a continuous process. With my job right now, my associates have the opportunity to judge me, to say, my boss is performing well, our executive team is doing this. So please, listen to your associates because they're the ones who represent. They all have a personal brand. I know I talked about making sure that you're there. You build your own brand. So that's my advice to everybody to say, hey, build your own personal brand, but go listen to your associates of what they really do. Don't just say, I listen to them, and then put it under this, and then you follow up when they come back to you. Go follow up, thank them for bringing the issue to you, and make sure that they understand that they are the priority for your company, for you personally. Make them feel like they're the only person in the world. They deserve your 100% attention. And following up, even if a note, after you talk to them, it will change the perception. But if you follow up with a quick email, a texting nowadays, or WhatsApp, whatever you do, please follow up, do active listening.
Awesome. Okay, thank you so much. Rene Minyan, just a quick question for you. Rata already gave us a picture of the international standpoint of customer service, but you here being into the creative industry, creative arts, as a creative arts consultant and also as an entrepreneur, what is your biggest advice that you can give organizations that are here in terms of service?
Thanks very much for the question. I think the first thing that I note that I'd like to communicate out there is that people in the creative space are the least listened to in terms of services that we get. Firstly, because people, there's labels that are associated with people in the creative arts. They are called baraskanta, they are called madrama, they are called all sorts of things. So already when you come in, say you come into a financial institution, firstly, the job that you do does not give you, in a lot of cases, does not give you consistent income to be able to be bankable. So what tends to happen is that alone creates negativity towards you, negative connotations. So the first point of interaction is, just allow yourself to listen, because there is so much that you can gain from engaging with somebody who is creative. So what I can say is that there has to be a complete mind shift. I like what Mayor Patsmatafo said in her presentation. She spoke about the pyramid to say, from the top, that's the boss, the CEO or the MD, and then executive management, senior management, then line managers, and then everybody else who are front of house staff, receptionists, they are at the bottom. And she spoke about when it comes to customer service, that shifting. And so those for me are the face of the company. So when you enter a building, you're greeted by a security officer and a receptionist. So if the message is not clear of what the company represents, then it becomes a problem for them to actually welcome you before you get to the big office with nice air conditioning and a large conference table. So people who are at the forefront of the organization. So for me, those are the most valuable people because they are the face of the company. And so I think the theme of this year's convention, of this week's convention, as adopted by Nef-Aid, is a very, very important one to say. Recognize those people that you may think are not important. In other places, like Ray has said, they're very important. But in Botswana, that has not happened yet. But also now, that has made them to become extremely, extremely hostile. So if you come, there's already a fight. There's already a barrier in front of you. Before you even start engaging, it's like, they're not even looking at you, So I'm saying, I think little Nahala, let's not come with conceptions. I note this especially when you go to government offices. You are ready to fight. Before you get there, before you left there, hey, at 11 o'clock they tell you, okay, now we are stopping. We're no longer taking, continuing with the registration. So you came with that and then you start fighting. So I think if you can, approach these organizations or whatever service providers with positivity, Lebanon or reflected back. I think they will. I think, I've, in a lot of cases, I've been able to receive good service because I got positivity. So I think little Nahala, as people needing services from people, if you reflect positivity towards somebody who has not had a great day because somebody had actually offended them before you came in, that attitude changes towards you. So I think as much as we want to blame them, let's start with ourselves. To say, okay, I'm going to go to this office. I know it might be a nightmare. I might finish at 4, but I'm just going to be positive. So I think let it start with us. Then that way we're able to influence how other people respond towards us.
Awesome. It is often said positive energies attract positive energies.
Thank you.
So basically what you're saying is when you go to these nightmares of service, you go with a positive mindset and then you get good service. Awesome. Okay, we're moving on with our interviews and questions. Matthew, you as a person living with albinism and also as a person that is advocating for people living with albinism, how would you say your experiences have been in terms of service around the country and how you've been serviced by local companies in our country here? How has been the experience?
Thank you once more. We are people with albinism, not people living with. We live with our families. This is not only to her, it's all to us, so that when you go out there in your establishment, you can be able to address it to everybody who has a certain kind of disability.
Thank you so much.
Yes. Well, for first, like you have just said that I'm a person with albinism. Obviously, it's a startle to many people. It's a wonder. It's a what, who, why, you know. So every place where you go, people look at you that way, you know. And I can just give an example of what happened to me at the Independence. I was in the VIP section, and then there's the time in which you're going out to go get your snacks and all that. So there was this other lady who was serving. So Barraba Maswara comes in, and then she gives them whatever snacks she was supposed to give. So I'm just there. And I'm telling her that, can I please have a bottle of water, ma'am? And she said, no, just wait and give it. So I left her to give those men. So another man came in, he was a senior soldier. She tried to assist him before he's assisting me. So I had to go like, hey, I said, can I please have a bottle of water? And she said, no, this is for these people. I said, no, I was told to come to this area, and I need that water. So she looks at this man, and she's looking at me. And then she decides, no, she gave him water, and the man went. So the lady I was with, I said, do you see how we accept in our nation? I'm in the VIP section as this. Was enough for him, and he's at duty, he's working. In this place. But look at what he's doing. This is how I encounter people who don't want to serve me because of how I am created. Because he gave people healing advantage before. So that's what we experience on a daily basis. You go to a government of late, I actually even use my we've been given this disability card by Ministry of Health. That's what sometimes helps me. Because if you ask me why you're giving me this card, I said, go and ask your government. Because I believe you're part of whatever the government have decided on me. It's really so painful. Because people look at how you were created, something that you can not even change. Because I cannot change how I'm created. But at the first, I am a human being first. But many people don't even take that. Another example is where I'm working. Unfortunately, I was going to be with them for some time, but unfortunately, they are retrenching. So, the way, when I got there, people would always want me to shut up in anything, because I'm not like them in color. If people are given maybe seats or chairs around, or maybe you're getting into the boardroom and then the chairs are not enough, they'll rather sit, and then I have to stand. But one time I have to stand up and say, you know what? I'm not going to let this happen. I must educate this from the boss. I started with my boss going down. So that's how people will look at you, where you are created, and just have anything that they can say about you. And it's very painful, even in shops. Just because it's a person of color and you're a person with albinism. Worse enough for us because we are also people with visual impairment. So sometimes someone was and the person will take advantage of that. The other teller and the other team come and get in here. Now because of my short-sightedness, I won't be able to see. No, the person will just rush and then just because of your how. So it's something that I believe many establishments should really look at and see how to be able to serve persons with various disabilities, not only albinism alone. I think I've had a time to talk with FNB the other time. They invited us at their park one time, I think a fortnight ago. I had to really say it out that this is how we want you people to be able to help us. Also, don't look at us as people who only wants to be empathized or sympathized with. Learn to know us, learn to know us the better. I think that's what I can say.
Awesome. Okay, my next question to you, Philo, is that, like out of what you already said, I'm thinking right now everybody is listening, and what they are wondering is how then can we make a positive difference in relating with people with albinism, with all other people with disabilities, in terms of customer service, in terms of getting to know them.
All right, thank you. Anything that you don't have information about, you will abuse. I will quote, I'm a religious lady. My people are destroyed because of lack of knowledge. So it is what I've been doing since 2017 rather. Trying to go around establishment. I've gone to SIPA, I've gone to Mighty, I've gone to, we spoke to FNB, and many other establishments. The whole thing trying to say, understand us. Understand how we live. Like I can give an example. The way we enter into your office, is it allowing me as a person with visual impairment to come in? If you are making me to enter the office, does the wheelchair have a way to move? Do I have like here is very good and it's bad. Even if I fall, at least I will not even injure my head because get carpet on the floor. Imagine when I'm entering in a place whereby all the doors are glasses, even the wall, and they're just the same. I don't even know which one is the door because everything is glass, isn't it? But now, how coloring look up and this side, and then there's a glass. I will assume this is the door, and then I will enter. Like when I was entering, the other lady at the gate there, the security guard, I'm asking him, where is the conference held? She said, there. Do you see where it's written conference there? Oh my God, I did not even see anything completely. So now I'm looking at I nearly reacted and told her that, do you think I really see? So I just said, no, let me just hold my peace. But she doesn't know because she's not even asking. She assumes that I can see, but I really can't see. So captains of the industry, as a person with disability, please be ready to know. Even if you are employed, research about the person that you are employing because there is no way you can run away from us. I've been talking to my younger brother. He's working for Skip Hire. He's been telling me all the things that are happening. They're taking me to work in the sun. They are what. I said, no. It cannot happen. Whether they have employed you or what, you are not a beggar at that place. You are part of the production team there. So I'm going to write them a letter to be able to know about us. If they need a meeting, I'm ready to come there to come and educate the staff. Well, with a cost, yes, because that's what I do. No, like seriously, because they don't know. It's around maybe 500 employees. He's the only one, a person with albinism. He cannot be working in the sun, going around in the trucks, and even the places, the stairs. We're having a challenge with the stairs. Thank God these stairs are black and then they're colored with white there. Now I can see that I'm moving to the next one, something like that. So those are the things that people have to know, or the captains of the industries. I normally have a hard time talking to HR people. I say, you are our advocate in the workplace. Let's see things are happening. You are not doing it for me alone. Tomorrow it's you or your grandchild who has a child with a disability. So you are not doing it for Philadelphia. I'm a nobody. Do it for the next generations that are coming. And I believe it's something that if all the establishment can be able to invite, the deaf can invite. Like right now, my friend Mayor Tafa, I don't know whether you know that any one of your people here are having a visual hearing impairment. They might be here, maybe two. So what are you supposed to do? Maybe bring a person who is a sign language interpreter You see, those are the things that I'm going to, from place to place, trying to fight on. And I believe that all of you are going to take this message out there. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think one of the things that I picked from all that you said is that know your customers. And when you're making an event such as this, know who is coming, so you can prepare for everybody well in advance. We're moving on to Memarina. Memarina, as you were introducing yourself, you mentioned that you work with Botswana Consumer Center for Research Advocacy. And I would love you to enlighten us about the organization, what it is and what it does.
Let me take this opportunity to first of all thank the director for Nef-Aid for having invited us. It is in fact possibly maybe the first invitation that we've had from a self-standing business. We met at some point where we have been invited by the government. BWServiceculture, which stands for Botswana Consumer Center for Advocacy, Research and Orientation, was registered in 1999, and I happened to, I would say I joined it by default because I was working with people that promoted it, probably by default because the course that I taught, being feminine consumer sciences, had an element on consumerism. So that being said, I found myself, pulled to it because we had things in common. Our main purpose, or we've got quite a number of them, is to create and sensitize consumers about their rights and responsibilities. I want to believe that something that really kills us in our country generally is not knowing what our rights are, and also not knowing what our responsibilities are. Like my brother said earlier, somebody I like this saying, if it is to be, it is up to me. I mean, where you go and you find that your rights in one way or the other are trampled upon, what is your stance? Madam Lyon said, you need to be a person that will be able to negotiate, bring yourself, be assertive in a manner that at the end of the day, you are heard. So, which is really, really something that we as consumers here, of which we kind to say it's synonym customer, we do sometimes lack and we get taken for granted. So it is important for us to know our rights. And I realize, and I'm happy that looking at you, you are all people that can go onto Google and Google. And we wouldn't be the first people not to have this knowledge, but we should be sitting here and thankful to J.F. Kennedy for having been the first person that stood up for consumers in 1860s, no, not 18, but in 1962 in the U.S. Congress, and he talked about consumer rights, and he introduced the first 4 consumer rights. And in 1985, the United Nations introduced the other 4. So now we stand at 8 consumer rights. We need to know our rights, so that it would be, and you would be, served well when indeed you know who you are and what your right is. I would probably maybe just quickly mention them before I return to our mandate as consumer advocacy group. The right to be informed. Sometimes we just go there and we find things. Selling something is being said, the price is just there, or an item is just there. We try to ask, honestly speaking, what is this all about? What is it? that it can do. The person serving you cannot explain it yet. You need that information in order for you to make informed decisions before you can buy. That is your responsibility to ask. Because they are here sometimes, they do not, they want you to buy. They don't have the time, there is another person. But nicely, be assertive and ask for information so that you can get that explanation. You have the right to be heard as a consumer. Honestly, when you go in a shop and you find that, which most of us here do, we go into the shops when you complain that the shop is not clean. People, we ourselves, if I complain that the shop is not clean, the person behind me will be saying, when you are served in an area that is not clean. So you need to be heard and say, please, can we have the area cleaned? Like right now we are consumers for the council, and our houses, our yards, there's a lot of litter, and it's not easy that we can go to the offices, the municipalities, and go and say, I stand alone as a consumer, can you come and pick my rubbish? I've been phoning them for the past 2 weeks about the rubbish at my place. First of all, I started asking my neighbors. Then they said, well, they collected while you were at church. Oh, okay, let me wait. The week ended. Then I took the phone to inquire. She promised to come up. So I've got the right to be heard. So that is a right that we all have got to. We've got the right to choose. This is why there is a plethora of shops. We should not be coerced into buying things that we don't want to buy. Somebody convincing me. Let them know that I have to stand back, think about it. I will go to the next shop because it is your choice, it is your money. We've got the right to safety. Like she has already mentioned, it's an element that we need as to take cognizance of different people in our society with regards what they need or how they are, how we can work for or make things easier for them, serving with empathy. We have the right to redress. If I'm not happy about something, my brother talked about the US. There was a point that I bought a dress, and after a week, it was not what I thought it would look on me. And I took it back. I complained. I'm like, well, at least the cut is this, and I was giving my own money, but here can you do that? We have the right to consumer education and the right to satisfaction and the right to a healthy environment. At the end of the day, sometimes we can see that, each right, impinges on the other hand. So we go about sensitizing people, and we are planning to have one meeting in one of the malls towards the end of this month, because we realize a lot of us, honestly, we do not take ourselves serious. As consumer body, for the number of years that I've been with it, almost every year we celebrate World Consumer Rights Day. And I want to believe that with this one, those of you that, because you are all younger, when it comes to the 2012-2017 rise in our consumer rise in the digital age, is your right. And it was your right, and we celebrated it, and we had a lot of younger people that honestly helped to propagate the information to those who were, to some of us who do not know what it is. We also have to empower grassroots consumers with knowledge. We are not only centered in Gaborone. We have had about 15 groups around the country. Though resources are minimal, the Ministry of Education has been very kind. Not Ministry of Education. Sorry for that because I was a teacher before. The Ministry of Trade, yes, has been really kind to us, to involve us as we go around. We have established quite a number of consumer groups around the country so as to, educate our old people. With you is easy. You read, but who stands for them? Really, who stands for them? We need to stand for them. And I would be, maybe before I end, make an appeal that in Gaborone we used to have Gaborone Consumer Group, and it died a natural death. But if we could stand up as youth in Gaborone, those who can read, we can certainly improve our conditions where we shop, in whatever we do here from the city, and cascade it down to our rural areas, because when you get there and the shop is not, to the standard, is not clean, or the prices are not well displayed, you not only speak for yourself, but you'll be speaking for other people, because at the end of the day, their health will be improved. I can say a lot. I'm available.
We are all customers. We continue with our conversation. We have Dr. Nwa here, the founder of Galafi Medical Clinic. My question to you, my good doctor, is in terms of our theme here is we are customers, serve with empathy. And then the question for you is, what do you have to say about empathy in healthcare?
Thank you very much, Kwame, for that question. In my introduction, I would like to start by saying, in my introduction, I said that I'm both a managing director and also a practicing doctor at Galafi Medical Center. This puts me in a very powerful position because I'm both the frontline officer as a doctor, and also I'm also the decision maker. Galafi Medical Center is a clinic. Right now, we started last year, March, and right now we're sitting at 3 branches, 3 clinics. And the vision is to have multiple specialist-driven centers all around the country. And I believe this is possible because I've seen the growth, and one may ask themselves, how do you achieve that, or how do you come to that? When I started last year, Galafi, the first clinic is a very small center, and I've seen people here who I've seen at the clinic as clients, and people that I'm clients to at the clinic. And when we first started, we wanted to, because there are many general practitioners in Gaborone and in Botswana, and we wanted to know how we can make ourselves different, or how we can make ourselves the 1%. And we identified good customer service as a business driver, and also that differentiating factor that will make you the 1%, which is why I believe we'll be able to grow and we'll be able to achieve the vision that we have. We take our customers, we put our customers first. They're at the center of every decision that we make. We are very keen on customer feedback. We are very keen on what the needs of our customers are, and we try very hard to meet that. Every decision that we make, or every change that we make, is based solely on what the customer says, and we take it very seriously. Now, coming to your question, I would like to just start by saying that the WHO defines health as a state of physical, mental, and social well-being, and not just the absence of disease or infirmity. And for a doctor, that compels you to have that holistic approach to a client. we don't see our clients as just conditions or diseases. We see them as actual people with a background, with a family, and everything that there is that makes up that person. For a GP, most of our clients, really, they come with conditions, yes, but you find that there's a lot of social and work pressures that bring those people. And I've made a talk on how stress and how work can affect your physical well-being. You can experience real pain just from the fact that you are stressed out. Your mind is that powerful. And for a doctor, I know I've been a client or a patient, and all of us here, I think, have experienced in some way service that was not so good. Because when you go to your doctor, even if it's a simple thing like a flu, you want them to not just treat the disease, you want them to understand what your needs are. You want them to reassure you that it's not cancer, because most of our clients nowadays, they go to Google before they come to us. And usually Google will tell them it's cancer, it's HIV, it's TB. Those are the top 3 diagnoses. And you want to, even if it's a simple thing, to reassure your client. And also, I was reading one of the quotes that says, empathy is a driver to, I'm just paraphrasing it. Like when you have empathy as a doctor, your client will sort of, when they see that you care about them, their defenses will be lowered, and you are able to get through to them, and you are able to explain to them and come up with a solution for that problem. And like F&B motto, when I see my clients, I start by asking them, what brings you here today? How would you like me to help you? Because they may not be there just for the pain. They may be there for other things. And I find that my consultations take very long because I like going to everything else. I will consult, and then we come up with a plan and we discuss it, and then I will then just start asking you questions. And most of the time I find that when you start asking people about how's home, how's everything, how's work, they break down, and then they will let you in on more than just what they bring. So it's very important as a doctor to show that empathy to your client, not just treat them as a patient. And I would like to just say that be patient with your doctors. Explain to them. I know that a lot of people in Botswana, they do what we call doctor shopping. If you come to me, you're not happy, you go somewhere else. And I always advise my clients, if you're not happy, always come back and let me know. And one of the things that we have at Kalafi is that we try to follow up on all our clients. And this is done by the doctors, because if I treated you, I want to call you and find out how you've been, how the medication treated you, because every medication has a side effect. And you may think that a person may not experience something, but actually they will experience a side effect from it. And so, very important. Like there's so much to say about it, and I think we don't have much time, but that's what I can say from our point of view.
Yeah, you know, as you were talking, one of the things that stood out for me is in terms of customer service, as Galaf, you seem to be doing good. But then coming from a background where we are used to actually queuing in clinics, you come with your sick as you can be, up until you get all well, while it's in the queue. And then the question now is, what advice could you give to other clinics out there, to other practitioners out there in terms of customer service, to say this is how you could do it with all these many people that are waiting for your service? This is how you can do it in such a way that the patient doesn't also run out of patience.
Thank you very much for that question. It's like, you know, one, it's customer service for us, and then two is fast turnaround time. And I know that back in the day, patients were at the mercy of doctors. And you have to wait for hours and you're not well. And people have said that they've experienced that on the queue, you actually just get well and go home. And at Kalafi, we want to change that. We make sure that there's always a doctor available. It's lunchtime, whatever time. And by the way, we close at midnight, so you can come anytime until midnight. And we're going 24 hours next year. And so this all is changes that we make so that we can better serve our clients. And to other service providers, I think the thing that doesn't work is trying to run everything by yourself. And you can't do it alone. You need people that can help you. That is because doctors actually, they work really hard. It's emotionally taxing, it's physically taxing, and you find that sometimes they're unable to meet your needs because of all these factors. So it's just that they need somebody to help them. So I think that we should be more customer focused or customer centered and make customers part of the DNA of our practices.
Okay, I'm told we are running out of time, so I'm just going to kindly take just one comment from the audience and then we'll wrap up our discussion. Anybody that's willing to say something?
And please introduce yourself and where you come from.
Okay, good afternoon everyone. My name is Candy Silayaposi and I'm a service manager at FNB. Mine is not really a question, it's just to inquire from the doctor. Where are you situated?
We're situated at Village currently and the other branches in Mimo. We have 2 branches in Village actually, and people want to know why I would have 2 branches. Not so far apart from each other, but that's a question for another day. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Candy.
Okay, thank you so much. I would love to thank our panelists for quite a good conversation we had here. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, we are moving on to our second panel of discussion, and I'll kindly ask that we be excused. Thank you so much.
Let's give them a big round of applause.
Smile, you're on camera.
And just to let you guys know, we are actually live streaming on Facebook, on the Patriot Online. So you must be careful. Those are not smiling people. How watching you?
We are moving on, like I said, we are moving on to our second panel of discussion. And I'm going to kindly ask that Mekomozo, so-called join here, and Mr. Mwendwe. Awesome, great. We are continuing with our discussion. We are continuing with our discussion here, and before we go any further, I'm going to kindly ask Rabakwena to introduce yourself.
Good morning. It's not afternoon yet. My name is Bakwena. I come from First National Bank of Botswana, and basically my main area of focus is around commercial client servicing and coming up with solutions that make banking easier for businesses and enterprises. And I think maybe also by way of introduction, the reason that we felt the need to participate in this event is also to sort of enshrine where we're coming from an FNB standpoint. That customer centricity is at the core of everything that we do now. Customer centricity is not something that we take lightly. It is a key driver for our strategy, a key driver in terms of our performance contract from an executive level down to the front line. So it's indeed a pleasure to be here, and I'll just say that in short.
Can I please step? There was a Toto Lemenyani who was part of this panel discussion. Sincere apologies. I guess her name wasn't forwarded. Let's welcome her also with a big round of applause. Thank you so much. He's from the Sunday Standard.
Customer centricity, Baba.
My sincere apology, Mekoto. Mekoto, can I kindly ask that you introduce yourself?
Thank you very much. Am I on? My name is Kobe, commonly known as KG. I deal with productivity issues, and as you can see, it's a very general area. I started at the Ministry of Trade, where we were dealing with consumers, particularly with research, with petroleum management. You remember the NPF thing on papers? That's the office I was working in. I came out before me. I worked with at Botswana Bureau of Standards, where we deal with quality and productivity. People say the flip side of quality management is productivity management. You can hardly differentiate. But sometimes, if you prefer productivity concept, you embrace, you put in quality, you make it part of productivity improvement, right? And then I went to Botswana National Productivity Center, where we dealt with issues of transformation, coaching, helping government to come out. We also dealt with parastatals and private sector. And then I went to Botswana, where we were dealing with organizational development using tools like strategic planning and management, and particularly on a daily basis I was dealing with a balanced scorecard. So the difference between dealing with strategic planning and strategic management is that with strategic management you will go the full cycle, you go all the way, and so I became a performance coach because of that. At the moment I'm out on my own, and I work at Grand Business Consultancy, where I deal with general being a Botswana, a householder, but I'm basically still there. And the typical product is helping people to prepare their business plans. And this is youth, and this is where you deal with both the commercial and development things. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Meg Komoto. I'll kindly ask that you introduce yourself. And once again, sorry.
No, it's okay. Gildat Minyani, and as a disclaimer, this is not a family affair. I know we just had Khalid Minyani coming in before me. So I work for the Sunday Standard, but I have background in economics because that's what I studied. And a lot of the times I get the questions, why would you study economics and then go on into a journalism field? My answer is usually very simple. I think the term economics usually is a very lofty idea to the imagination of many people. But I think what people miss is the fact that there is economics on the ground. And economics on the ground really speaks to real people who are contending with real challenges, who are solving real problems and giving real solutions. So it breaks it down from that lofty ideas to economics being the person that sells you cold time on the streets, the person that you buy vegetables from the tabletop. It breaks it down to the person whom you buy coffee from, because these days you have everything being sold on the street. So that is in actual fact the economics. And so where I fit in is I work at the heart of people. My work is really around the heart of people. So if people, as you are,
are engaged in daily transaction, and more so people who I've been mentioning deal with daily transactions, and if they don't make money in any particular day, it means the next day they can't transact because it's a cash flow kind of business. So that is the economics, and that's the economics that I write about. So it's really the economics on the ground, and it breaks down this lofty idea of economics being government, investment, FDI, and investment coming from abroad. It's really the economics that ordinary Botswana engage in each and every day. So that's what my relevance is in terms of bringing that economics to you in terms of writing, in terms of video form. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Our topic of discussion is going to be how customer service affects economic activity and productivity. This is the topic that we will be discussing with my beautiful panelists here. Going on into the discussion, my first question is going to go to Mr. Bakwena, our biggest sponsor of the day, FNB. As a head of service in the leading bank locally, how important is customer service to FNB?
Okay, thank you for that question. Firstly, I just wanted to just highlight on one thing, that the fact that this is a brand that is coming to invest in Botswana, right? So they obviously saw value as a brand to come here and harness or serve customer expectations. Prior to this, I worked for Barclays Bank, which is another multinational. I'm going to get to my point. And, as a head of service, and I think we have something in common, I'm an economist by grounding. Why would customer service essentially firstly be beneficial to a country, right? A country looks for, firstly, collects revenue through taxes. Secondly, for investment purposes and for balance of trade, we get foreign direct investment. Right, and then you net off between what is coming in and what's going out. I won't get into the economics of it. So a country sustains itself by what comes in, but how do you attract what comes into your country? You attract what comes into your country in three ways. Basically, foreign direct investment comes in looking for something. It comes in looking for resources. It comes in looking for a market. Let's say population. It comes in looking for efficiencies, like how fast can you turn around a specific solution. So at FNB, we serve a population, and there is that element and component of foreign direct investment. And you look at the population of Botswana, you look at our economy, you look at the fact that we have a very thin manufacturing base. So definitely, we don't have the population as well. So our foreign direct investment is looking for two things essentially. It's resource driven, and then there's the potential of it looking for efficiencies. Now, I'm taking it back now to a banking standpoint. As a bank, service is important in terms of that. Service talks to efficiencies. We don't have a big customer base in Botswana. We all know we have almost up to about 11 commercial banks operating within the same place. The customer is going to gravitate to the point where they get solutions that tailor-make or really suit their needs. And the bank that is competitive is the one that is competitive on a service standpoint. And to be competitive on a service standpoint, it means that your cost to serve your client is less than your competitors. And I think that's where I would say it's important to have service as a key differentiator, because not only does it delight clients, it makes your cost base a little bit less, and it allows you basically to turn around services within a good time. And then looking at customer service going forward, when you talk about scale is basically looking at how big your company is and how you can leverage off of it. There's a change in the landscape in terms of how client servicing is done. So it's also about looking to leverage off of technologies and other opportunities. So in short, customer service is important because it reduces the cost of the client and the business in terms of, doing business.
Okay, thank you. I think you touched on my next question, but I want you to elaborate a little bit more on it. What do you think is the link between customer service and bottom line profits?
Okay, so basically, you start a business. One thing you're looking at is to, increase on your revenue, right? But the thing is, if you look at the function of a business, it's revenue minus cost. You'll forgive me if there are any accountants here. I'm an economist, right? I'm a sales accountant. So you're looking at the money coming in versus the money going out. So customer service basically reduces repeat work. So just a simple thing. If I have to come to the branch 10 times to open one account, is that scalable? Is it efficient? I'm spending money firstly for petrol. The business is potentially spending money on overtime, right? If I have to apply for a credit solution and it takes, on average, maybe say 6 months for that to be turned around, I'm just giving 6 months out there. What is the cost to the business, right? There's too many back and forth, reworks, you do this again. You touch on things more than once. That's a cost to the business. Overtime, escalation, bills. You have attrition of your clients because they're leaving, because you are not catering to their needs. So, bottom line is that if you're effective in terms of what you do in terms of customer service, not only are you increasing your repeat business, but you're also reducing the costs and the bottom line. So basically, at the end of the day, there's an increase.
Okay. Thank you so much. Like I said earlier on, our topic is how customer service affects economic activities and productivity. So my question to you is, can you shed some light on how customer service affects productivity and economic activities?
Okay, I'd like us to look at it this way. Economics, a large component of it is consumption. For consumption to happen, there has to be demand. When you break down demand, there are two things to it. There has to be willingness to buy, and then there has to be the ability to buy, which then speaks to money being available to buy a certain product or service. The demand, for you to be able to arouse the demand, which eventually leads to consumption, you have to make somebody willing to actually have interest in your product. Now that's where it starts, and that's where customer service can be, anchored on. Your ability as a business or as a person to sell me a product starts with, first and foremost, whether you share with me the benefits of your product. You don't just give me the product as is, but you share with me in an emotional way, that is, because you want to rouse my willingness to buy. You tell me all the emotional benefits to me buying your products. That is customer service. And it's exactly what they have been talking about here. Being able to have that emphatic, am I saying it right? Empathy, right? To know what your customers' needs are, and to directly and very straightforward being able to respond to that need. Speaks to, are you able to touch the emotional person in me when you convince me that this is the benefit that I will be getting from your product or your service. So this is what they call creating an experience around your product or a service. But you also have to convince me of the functional benefits of your product. So you don't only just appeal to my emotional sense, you also appeal to my practical sense to say, beneath the smile that I will get when I get into your office, you need to be able to be sincere enough to tell me that you can back that smile. You know what I mean? The smile calls me in, but my ability to buy comes from the willingness that I have for your product or your service. So if you look at customer service from a consumption perspective within the economic landscape, you're able to realize that for consumption to happen, there has to be willingness and there has to be money available. Now, on the availability of money aspect of it, if you take, for example, our household debt, it is, in my view, astronomically high, right? This speaks to consumption. It means that there's a willingness. Whether you're taking out a loan to go buy a house or you're just taking out a loan to buy a car, there's a willingness that drove that ability. So the ability can come from the money that is coming straight away from your pocket, or it can come from the fact that you go to a bank and a request for a loan so that you can be able to meet the purchase that you want to make. So if you look at economics from a consumption perspective, you look at customer service from a consumption perspective, those two are very interrelated, and that's how the economy moves. Can I just give, I don't want to take too long, but can I just give examples of what I've seen through my job? There is a tabletop vegetable stall. I don't know if you've seen it in Main Mall. It's called Yummy Yummy Foods. Those guys have basically revolutionized customer service. What they do is, we don't all know the vegetables that are there, but they're able to tell us, if you buy this is how you can cook it. And we buy because they just, one, explained to me its functionality, two, they have aroused my willingness to buy it. So that's a game changer. Those are the people that are actually running the economy, but we tend to overlook because they're so small. Also, we think, because we always think of economics as this grand big machine of big money, but we don't actually know that the small little monies that these people make is actually what runs this economy, especially speaking within the context of Botswana. This is what runs our economy. Another example is next to them is a coffee maker guy, Barista Sabi. When I go to Sabi, he chats me up, and then from that conversation alone, he's able to draw some little thing on my cappuccino and gives it to me. When I get that, it makes me smile. That's why I keep going back to him. So you can see that aspect of customer service makes me a repeat customer to those two people that I just mentioned.
Okay, thank you so much. Mr. Kobe, we are going to continue with you. When you introduced yourself, I noticed that you have quite a vast experience in human resources. But then my question to you is, what impact, or can you just share with us the impact of internal customer services on productivity?
Thank you. I'm here. You are here. We run organizations or we work for organizations. It is important that everyone becomes productive. Normally we refer to those people who look after productivity as human resource managers. They are interested in the targets that every employee must meet. So the percentage objectives that you meet seriously impact on what you can do as an organization. It is important to note that these things that we are saying here are all premised on the concept of productivity. As an organization, you have the right to timeliness. One, unto your customer, you are, according to what the definitions have been saying here. You have the right to quality. When you go to an organization or to an internal customer, it is important that they are prepared to give you things according to what you specify. So quality specifications must be alive throughout the process of serving the customer. The quantities are very important. If you are in a fashion designer's shop, it is important that the designer there gives you the right quantities for yourself and for your bridesmaids. We've seen at weddings, bridesmaids or brides crying in the morning of the wedding because the quantities went wrong. Someone's dress is not finished. So that's quantity, that's one third element. It is also important that the costs are coming down. Don't encourage repeat actions. If I come into your shop and you don't give me what we agreed upon, the date, the time, it becomes very painful to me. I go out disgruntled and I go away. Safety is also very important. If I go to F&B, for instance, it is important that I know that I'm a safe customer. My information is kept intact and safe. So that's productivity, and that's what human resource managers do to internal customers. This is what we should be doing, one to the other person. All of us must be serving each other. properly. And the other thing is the human face, which is what we've majorly been talking about here. You cannot claim productivity if you don't recognize emotions, like you said. It is important that we understand customer service in its totality, not just that thing, one thing or the other. We are from different backgrounds, but productivity is general. The problem in Botswana is not about managers only, not customers only, not fellow employees only. It's about productivity. So productivity says, let's balance out all the elements of bringing profitability to an organization. After bringing profitability, then you can claim growth. And furthermore, your organization must be sustainable. So you should not just wake up one morning without having budgeted for the man hours, for the pullers and the tables. You must also budget for quality specifications. Will you manage your standards? You must budget for the outputs. What about your machine hours? You buy a machine, will it give you what you want? So productivity says, let's balance out these things. Therefore, the human resource or the person in there must be able to provide for all and everything. At least they must try. Thank you.
Thank you so much. My question to you is, as a bank, what are your values in regard to customer service?
I think, thank you for that. We are a values-driven organization, and also we are what we call a promises. We are moving into a space where we talk about promises, and we have these first promises basically, encapsulate the first thing that she was talking about, that we don't want to do repeat work on anything. So our F&B promises look towards delivering value to our clients. They look towards making sure that the client is assisted the first time, every time, all the time. And that basically encapsulates and the aspiration that we need to get to as F&B. And I had also alluded to the fact that if for those that are present that maybe have interacted with the brand, our strategy is actually based on two things, or sustained on two things. The first thing is human capital, making sure that our people are equipped, that are ready to serve, and they're happy and engaged. The second one, which is at the core of everything, is the customer centricity. So business is actually centered around those two components, which is our people and our customers.
Okay. Thank you so much. I'm just going to take 2 comments from the audience. Anybody that is willing to say something? There's a question. Can you introduce yourself and where you come from?
My name is Katako Khabaroni. I am a Senior Marketing Officer, Customer Services with Choppies. And mine is not so much a question, but it is a comment or a suggestion. Personally speaking, I've attended numerous conferences and conventions for all sorts and all types of different initiatives. And I think a lot of these tend to address very pertinent issues that we face in the country, but they don't always have a follow-through as to, yes, we have had a customer service convention, but where do we take it from here? So my comment is more to Nef-Aid Solutions to say I would like to congratulate you on doing a stellar job. But I would also like to challenge you and say that maybe you should also take it a bit further. Maybe create a forum or a platform where corporate Botswana can come together and possibly benchmark on each other, because what I learn in my daily job from Chockies might help F&B, and what F&B knows might help us. So if we can create a forum like that, I think it would help us as a nation moving forward in terms of our customer care and our customer service. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I just chip in? Immediately after the session, we're going to have a very short Q&A. So reserve that point and go ahead and pick that up. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Another, we have another hand up. Can you introduce yourself and where you come from?
My name is just to actually thank Philadelphia, I hope I'm pronouncing the name correctly, that you opened our eyes to certain things that we weren't really privy to or we thought we knew. Because as a service person, we are always quick to either assist the customer, for example, in the best ways that we can actually do. But today I just learned that even though the highly qualified, you could actually say this direction, but I should be able to know that what I think is normal to me is not normal to my client. So I should be able to dig deeper and be able to assist the customer according to their needs, not what I think is necessary for me. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We are about to wrap up our conversation here, but I'm just going to ask one question to Mesoko. Mesoko, what's your take on customer service, how customer service affects productivity and economic activities? Because like I said, our topic is how customer service affects economic activity and productivity.
Sorry, thank you very much. Customer service will either improve or drop productivity at individual level, at national level. It becomes an aggregate of the things, all the things that you input and the outputs that you can count at the end of the day. And what you count at the end of the day is those outputs or your product lines having given out certain results. So without proper customer service, your inputs are going to go very high. And at the end of the day, what you're counting is little. And that affects your profitability. And we are saying you will not grow as an organization. If you cannot grow, you will not and never hope for sustainability. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm going to kindly ask that you give your word of advice to the different organizations that are here in line with customer service productivity.
I think I'll borrow also from what I've seen in my line of work. I also did a story on a woman. She sells seasoning, grain salts, and sauces. I don't know if anyone of you know her. What I liked about her is the fact that she takes so her core competency is basically making the sauces and seasoning for us to enjoy, right? But what she did is she went on and said, because I deliver for people call me and they ask me to deliver. Why don't I then put a sticker to my car to say, stop me to buy grain salts and sauces? Because, she always has the sauces on her in her boot, but she's not attracting you or the next person on the street because you don't know that she has those things in the boot. So she just put a sticker to her car and said, stop me, buy grain salts and sauces. So it's just saying to us as people within the business sector, within the service center, any sector that really deals or interfaces with customer service is, what am I not doing right now that is not capturing the person that does not see what I'm doing, right? And when I do that, when I introduce however game-changing thing and that really speaks to innovation, which is like a really big concept, but really it speaks to how can I better meet my customers' needs. Is when I start doing it, how do I consistently maintain that? And how do I grow it, like she says? Because you cannot sustain something that you cannot grow. So basically, it's think outside of the box. I know it's a very lofty idea as well. It's often said, it's very common to say to people. But do you think outside of the boxes, how do I capture one? And two, how do I make somebody a repeat?
Thank you so much, Natoka. there are so many different organizations here, and it is in my view that in terms of customer service, as the FNB Botswana, you seem to be doing quite well in customer service. And then my question, actually what I want to say to you is, can you give a word of advice in terms to the different organizations that are here related to customer service and how they can improve their customer service?
Okay, I think it's I'll talk from a strategy standpoint. That you want 3 points essentially. The first one is you need to know basically what values or why are you in business, and exactly who are you servicing. And then it goes a level below that says that your strategy needs to incorporate the client. And then the third and last one is basically stretch. You need to set aggressive goals for yourself and continue to monitor feedback from clients and optimize on that. So it will be at those 3 points what I would say needs to be done.
Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for them. Thank you so much for joining our panel discussion.
Thank you, Mangwane, for the beautiful facilitation, and to our panelists, once again, a big round of applause. As they say, we learn every day. Guys, as they say, all good things come to an end. Unfortunately, we could go on and on and on, but I think we've covered. This was the first one. We'll have many more to come. Next year we'll have another one, and the following year, Now, what we're going to do is, before we bid you farewell, earlier on we had invited, we had spoken about people who had won prizes. I'm going to invite our MD, Ms. Patsimo Dafa, to come and give those who had won prizes, prize award. Ms. Pats, can you please come on stage? And as we call you, we kindly ask you to come on stage so that the camera guys can snap with a shot. Our first recipient, the one who was very fast to RSVP, is Re Kisimo White from Ministry of Lands. Let's give him another big round of applause. Ashes, can we bring his gift? And as we said, we wanted to see your colleagues enjoying these ice pops, you posting. All the information is on your folder. 100 of them. Around 100. What's our name? Yeah, that would help it. Thank you so much. Alright, the next recipient is the most responsive attendee. Philadelphia Mkali. Arabo Perendiata, Ms. Phila, a motivational speaker of note. How well you. And then the last one, Ibo Nevala Kinyu, Bilobre, Salamo Packets, one the greatest one ever got. Give I tell I from Pitele, a Memora, Mutuasele, the Mutati, Veronica Hopola, kopa le tlo itsela le rona re batla go bona le poster let's go go di jogo clinico na tsele tlina na go patsa le ka tsa batho go go tsona. Right, another big round of applause to all our winners. Thank you, Matafa. Right, we're coming to the end of this beautiful customer service convention. And I must admit, you guys have been a beautiful audience. Now it's your time. Our good friend there, Mr. Name from Chopis, preempted what we are going to get into, which is good. She's a customer service oriented person. In the next couple of minutes, we want to hear from you. How can we improve this customer service convention, because we are hosting another one next year? What are the take-homes? What can we do differently? If there's someone who has a short testimony, either at work or here, whatever, something that you can share with us to enhance this day, to make it a better day, and how we can continue going forward throughout this week as we celebrate this Customer Service Week. Once again, when you ask a question or comment, please introduce yourself, where you come from, and then shoot. Anybody? Questions, comments, need for clarity, a testimony? Can I say capture Madam Madam Machopis? The point I think you can shoot.
I can address.
Ah, super. Mr. BK here, hopefully.
So, my voice sometimes. So sometimes I appreciate the comment, and I think the thinking when we sought to partner with Nef-Aid was that we needed to start, and this is only the beginning in terms of the service convention and the influence that we have within the country. And I think maybe the one thing that I want to challenge each and every one of us is, can we take this back to organizations, right? And demonstrate the value add of having a half morning to have these discussions. Can we just also individually share, like, comment on Facebook and just elevate that? And I think going back to what you're saying, your contacts, please provide them to Patsimo so that dialogue must go on. But I'm happy that's the line of thinking. I'm happy that you found value in this half morning, and definitely we need to rope in a few more stakeholders going forward. I think those have been the conversations that we've been having during tea. I don't know if it fully addresses what your question was, which is about what is the next thing that we're going to do as an industry. Are we going to have sector-specific consumer councils? And I think we are all open to that, and invite you to connect and let's take this conversation further.
Thank you. I think you articulated very well, BK. Thank you, sir. Big round of applause. From here, let's challenge all of us. Yes, there's a hand there. Don't forget to introduce yourself and where you come from.
My name is Nef-Aid. I'm Miss Beauty with Albinism 2019-2020. Okay, my question goes out to all the organizations that are here today. It goes like, why are so many organizations afraid to hire people with disabilities? Is it because it is costly, or is it because you lack the resources on how to help those people? I'm sorry to say this, but for example, Choppies, I see a lot of people with disabilities there, but they're deaf. How are you catering for those people? I've seen people with albinism there, but what about the other disadvantaged groups? Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you, that should be clear. Thank you. There's another hand. Thank you, Mahadi. Your name is?
Firstly, I'd like to say thank you for this session. It has made me very, what can I say? Oh, sorry. Okay, I like all the information that I've received here since morning. I've learned so many things. And what I would like to say is...
The mic, please.
Sorry. Customer service. I'm a consultant at F&B. I work under digital banking. And what I like to say is to my other colleagues is that don't be quick to pass the net. When a customer calls you, assist them, even if it's not in your field, ask the person who's in that field to say, there's a customer who called. They want to inquire about 1, 2, 3. How can I assist them? You know? And that's one of the things that I realized that Botswana lack very much. I can call any company, I can call even the government office to say I need assistance with this, but the first thing the person is going to say is, that is not my line of work, can I transfer you to the next person? And you don't even tell the customer that you're transferring them to the next person. And I always like to say to people, you can never move to the next level if you're not good at what you're doing now. If I want to be the next CEO of F&B, I have to be good at the work that I'm doing now before I become a CEO. I have to show people what I'm capable of. And I have to learn to be a leader where I am. And it starts with home. Most of us think that customer service is only at work. And some of the things they apply at home. I'm a mother. I have parents. When they talk, do I listen? When they ask things from me, do I deliver? If you cannot apply those things at home, do you think that you'll be able to do that at work? And you have to be so good at what you do so that you don't repeat it. People like to laugh when I say, I hate school. It's not because school is bad. I always make sure that I pass so that I don't repeat. And it's the same thing at work. If you want to move on to the next level, always make sure that you deliver where you're coming from so that you move on to the next level. Customer experience it's more than just what you offer to the customer. It's a feeling, you know. You want people to come to you for assistance. That's why I'm proud to say I'm an effort here to everyone. Because I don't just innovate. I give you the service that you require. And I go to the extent of asking you, how further do you want me to enhance the product that I made for you? That is what customer service is to me.
Thank you so much. Right. Is another hand at the back there? Is a hand? Okay. No, this side. Raise your hand. Okay.
From Choppies. It's to address the lady who asked the question about people living with disability. I don't know if I'm saying it correct, PWD. Am I? But in any case, I speak working in a department that used to assist with the placement of people living with disabilities in the stores. I don't speak working in that specific team, but with them in the department. And from experience, what I've noticed is that a lot of times people living with disabilities need to be, not all of them, some need to be placed a little bit closer to home. And sometimes that's the struggle that we do have. If you come in and you register, because we will have people looking for jobs and they will bring in their applications. But if you're applying in Soroe and you find that there is 100 people living with disabilities in Soroe that have brought in their applications, it becomes a little bit difficult sometimes to place all of them because they might all need to be in Sorowe. Those are some of the issues that we do come across. But however, I do think we actually do employ people with disabilities, from the deaf, people who may have problems with their legs. Some I have encountered those that are blind as well. But I think that to say that we are trying, is what I can say, is that we are trying. I can't speak for other organizations, but we must understand that with everything that we do, you learn as you go along in the process. It's not something that's easy, it's something that we learn. We do have some members that had to learn. They have done classes learning how to sign language and what have you. And of course, I assume that many more will learn as well. So speaking on that, I think that's pretty much all I can say.
Thank you, Godlevel, from John. Let's have one or two more and we close because we are after time. You agreed that Mr. Tau here, the other round.
You mentioned earlier what can you guys do to make sure that you enhance all this. So I'm challenging you guys, and I can make a commitment next year probably for you guys to say, I'll give about 5,000 pula if, listen, there has to be something. If you guys can start, people who are in here, nominate the associate who goes above and beyond, and when that person is nominated, employee of the whatever this event is, right? I'm committing, I can commit 5,000 people in the next year to make sure that you guys recognize the associate, the people who matters, the people who are the foundation for this economy in Botswana. And on top of one of the things that they do in America very, very, very well is the American Disability Act. It's embarrassing, unfortunately, to hear stories like that, to hear that we don't facilitate, we don't follow through. They need to be a little bit changed to make sure that we understand that every person has to be treated and be accommodated accordingly. We need to push for those kind of changes, and it starts with what Matafa has done here. We have the stories now, and through the stories, through conversation, it's now time for everybody in here to go back and reflect on their companies and say, what can we do? What else? The word what else brings a lot of things. If you do that, just a small bit of change and push people, there's going to be a lot of progress. And I thank you for doing that. And I thank everybody in here for listening, because it's very, very critical, it's very important that we acknowledge ADA in every way possible. But I am challenging I'm willing. My own personal 5,000 people go, I know what we value, employee of the year, whatever you want to do it.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Tau. There is a challenge. Okay, the very last one, we're running out of time, and Mahasinkala here.
I think I want to go back to our question. I personally believe we have an issue of this learning. Learning is easy, but this learning is very problematic, because change cannot come without learning, dislearning, then we change. We've been in a place where we've been too comfortable with segregation, too comfortable with sympathy. So I believe as we all go back to our organizations, in whatever capacity we are, change becomes little. But the little change we put in becomes bigger. We should be able to embrace empathy with everybody around. Then we'll be able to address each one of us as equal beings and each one of us as special in our own capacity, because we are all fearfully and wonderfully made.
Thank you, Masinkala. Okay, I said the very last one because of time. Because we're going to network, guys. Can we then see Mamba Mali at the back there, she's our secretary for the day. Mamba Mali, can you please stand up so that they see? Those that we couldn't capture, their comments, their questions, please see her so that we jot them down. We want that next year when we invite you and we say we're done at such a time, you know that these people keep time because they are customer-centric people. Now after this, we're going to network. Like I said earlier on, ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, this is all we had time for. We could have gone on the whole day. There are so many issues, but we like to thank you for being a great audience, that when we invited you, you came. You've been a great audience. We take it that we will continue this week. We want to see those posts, those likes. We want to see you guys communicating how you're doing this week, the activities, the fun, the excitement, the dazzling that we're going to be seeing on Facebook. Can we all stand up? There's something I usually do when I sign off an event, but I'm going to ask somebody to come and close for a word of prayer so that I do my signature bye-bye. And a volunteer to come and close for us with a word of prayer, because we started with a word of prayer. Even from there, where's the mic? Yeah, here's the mic. Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity to pray. Let us bow our heads and pray. Heavenly Father, thank you. You are God, and besides you there is no other. Thank you for this good vision that we came, Jehovah, to celebrate here today, Lord God. In the speeches, Lord Jesus, I've heard that this is the first ever that ever happened in Botswana, King of Glory. You are a good God, and I pray that, Lord God Almighty, increase, enlarge the territory of this vision. And I thank you for every captain of the industry represented in this place, Lord. Thank you for all the speakers. Thank you, Lord Jesus Christ, for all the attendees, oh God. Thank you, even Jehovah, for the director of ceremonies. Thank you for the sponsors, King of Glory. I am here, King of Glory, to say, open the eyes of our understanding, oh God. Help us to be empathetic, King of Glory, as the captains of the industry or employers, oh God. Heavenly Father, thank you, Jesus. The Holy Spirit is going with us as we are departing this wonderful place, oh God. And I thank you, Lord, as everybody of us, my God, is enjoying this week, King of Glory. Bless us and help us, oh God. Help us to introspect. In Jesus' mighty name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Whilst we're standing, I want you to raise your right fists